Well, welcome, and we'll start right off with our bracha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. Okay,
Um,
Kathleen, you have a question.
yes. Why is there a seven branch menorah in the temple and an eight, and we have an eight branch menorah?
Okay,
The
that's a
difference.
great question. That is a great question. So, the eight-branch menorah is for Hanukkah. Okay, it is. It is, and here's what I think. When you read about the Hanukkah in the Talmud, and there's no tractate on Hanukkah. You read about Hanukkah in tractate Shabbat because they're comparing the commandment of lighting Hanukkah lamps as opposed to Shabbos lamps, okay? And that their purpose is different. But without my going into that particular area, they bring up the subject of Hanukkah in general. And basically, the way they say it is that essentially you can fulfill the mitzvah of lighting the Hanukkah lamp, which is placed in the window by the street at a time when people pass by in the evening when they're going back from work. This is the way it's sort of stated in the Talmud, so that they can see this lamp and be reminded of the miracle that took place with the menorah in the temple. Okay. So you can do it with one lamp. Then they say, and of course, in effect, if you want to do a better job, like beautify the mitzvah, then if there are two people in the family or three people in the family, you light a lamp for each person. Okay, each person maybe lights their lamp, and you put it in the window. Okay, and then there's another mention about how you can even do it one for each night. One on the first night, two on the second night, three on the third. And then a discussion between Hillel and Shammai whether you should light eight on the first, seven on the second. That's Shammai. And Hillel
Mm.
says no, because there's a relationship, believe it or not, between Hanukkah and Sukkot, and the family and the festival of Sukkot, where you
Oh,
start off with a large number and each day you decrease the number, or you should add. And the argument, and Hillel says, no, you should start with one, and then two, it's three, etc. There's a discussion because the longer the miracle lasted, the greater the miracle was, and therefore the light should be more and more. There's no discussion about a Hanukkah menorah. I believe that Hanukkah menorahs, this is a theory, that Hanukkah menorahs are relatively recent,
oh,
a few hundred years, maybe, okay? And that is that people thought, well, it comes to remind us of the menorah in the temple. And so we should have Hanukkah menorahs. That's it. But they would have eight branches because they actually have nine, right? There are eight
right.
around sides and one two for a shamash. And the reason is that you're not supposed to, the lights themselves on a Hanukkah are considered holy, meaning you can't use the light that is the illumination of a Hanukkah menorah to read your newspaper,
Mm.
okay, to do anything. And also, so you shouldn't technically be using one Hanukkah lamp to light another Hanukkah lamp, okay? And that's why you have the shamash, the serving lamp, which lights the other lamps. And somebody very smart and artistic put this together
Mm.
in the idea of a Hanukkah menorah. That is it essentially, and that's why it has eight lamps, one for plus one for the 8 days of Hanukkah. The seven-branch menorah was the menorah, as you see, commanded to be put in the temple and the tabernacle. And the notion here is the days of the week. In other words,
Oh,
days of creation.
oh,
You
okay.
have the days of creation that represent the six that are on the side. I'm going to share the screen right now.
Mm.
Moment, please. Right, here we go. Let's go in here. And here's what I want. Here, okay, so these represent the 6 days of the week, and this
Oh,
represents the Shabbat. Okay.
okay.
So that's the menorah. So, in other words, the idea of the menorah representing also God's creating the universe.
Okay.
That's what the
All
Hanukkah.
right.
So that is the distinction between the menorah in the temple and why it has seven branches, and the Hanukkah menorah, which is an artistic representation to to enhance the celebration of Hanukkah.
Okay. Okay. All right.
All right.
Now, yes.
Okay. So
Thank you.
that's the point there. All right. Now, so yesterday I was stumbling over how Rashi got 18. Remember, he says that they're from top to bottom, right? From
Right.
bottom to top, the menorah was 18 handbreadths. And I was going through the Rashis, and after I added it all up, I wasn't getting 18. But now I think I can understand it. I went over it. It's beautiful. There's a statement in a Mishnah in Pirkei Avot is that says basically, you know, don't ever say, I struggled with it and I never found the answer, because if you struggled with it, you will find the answer. And clearly, yesterday, I was struggling with this. And so I decided to go back and see what I can do. Now, let's see, I may go wrong again, but essentially, this is how it works out. So this is 2 handbreadths, this little piece, 2 handbreadths. This is 2 handbreadths. So keep it running total, okay? So that's 4. This is 1 handbreadth, that's 5. This is 2 handbreadths, that's 7. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 2 is 14. Okay, let's see. I may be getting this wrong again. 14, and this is another 2 here. That is 16. 16, and this is another 2, and that's how you get 18. Okay, so that's how Rashi gets 18, and the way he describes it is essentially he goes from the bottom to the top, and he winds up with 18. That's how you get 18 handbreadths. Okay, here we go. This is how I did it here. Oh, these were, sorry, I said, forgive me, I made a mistake. Let me go back. These are each 1 handbreadth. That's how you get to 17, because we were at 14 at this point. Another 3 is 17, and this is another 1, that is 18. So this distance here is the same as this distance here, which is the same as this distance here. That's how, I'm sorry, I erred in the last little part here, but that's how you get 18. And then these are something additional that are placed on the top to hold the oil. And
Right.
we'll try and deal with that now. Okay, so let's go back. I'm going to pick this up here with after having done that. Okay. We can go back here if we want. Okay. Okay. Let's go here. Okay, so the Achadasar Kaftorim, there were 11 knobs. Shesh Beshisha Hakanim, 6 in the 6 branches. Okay, let's see. Okay, I want to make sure. Yes. Veshalosh Begufa Shel Menorah, and 3 in the actual body of the menorah. So I believe here are the Kaftorim. This is what he's referring to here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Let's see, right? This is Achadasar, 11. Those are the knobs. Okay. So and 3 in the Gufa Shel Menorah. Shakanim Yotzim Mihem. So the 3 from which this is what he's talking about. He's talking about these 3 here, these 3 knobs there. Let's see, let me make sure. It's always fun trying to find the place, right? Ushayim od ne'emru b'Menorah, and 2 more that I mentioned in the Menorah. That's right here. He's talking about this one here, this knob, and he's talking about this one down here at the bottom, this knob here. That's the other 2. Shene'emar meshukadim kaftoreha. He says, and their knobs surrounded by almonds, something like that. And if we look carefully, that's exactly what the story is. These are the almonds that are surrounding the knob. And right here, the almonds that are surrounding the knob. Okay. All right, let's take a look. Okay. Umiyut kaftorim, and he says, it says kaftorim, 2 kaftorim, 2 knobs that are surrounded by almonds. And he says the minimum amount of a plurality is shnaim. It's 2. Hachad lamata etzel hayerach. He says 1 below near the leg of the menorah, right? One below. Again, I'm sorry, I'm trying to find the place here. Right. And one in the three handbreadths that are above im shalosh hagviim, with the three cups. Here we go. Here we go. There, one, right? And remember, I said these are three handbreadths, and here are the three cups that he's talking about. V'tish'a prachim hayula, and there were 9 flowers, we call them, right? What are we talking about? These are the flowers, the prachim, right? I believe. Let's see what we're talking about. Make sure I'm talking about that each, right? Let me make sure. Hayula shesh, the sheshet hakanim. So let's see. He says 6 for the 6 things. So he must be talking about something else when he says prachim. Okay. Because he says, let's see. Hayula shesh l'sheshet hakanim, 6 for the 6 branches. Shenamar baketne ha'echad kaftor v'ferach. Oh, maybe he's talking about this here. Kaftor, there's the kaftor v'ferach. So 6 of this. Let's see if he's talking about it, right? Okay, that's what he's referring to. Shenamar baketne ha'echad V'shalosh menorah shenemar meshukadim kaftorah. So this is what he's talking about. And 3 here, right? 1. Well, let's see. He says shalosh. So am I talking about a nut? Am I talking about, okay? Shalosh lemenorah shenemar meshukadim kaftorah upracheha. Okay, yes. I mean, sorry. What am I out of the space here? Let's see. No, I'm in the right place, right? So I'm so sorry. It just gets that I'm getting this confusing. So right. It says there were 9 prachim. Shneimar b'kanei achad kaftor b'ferach, v'shalosh lemenorah, and 3 for the menorah. So yeah, I don't know why I said 3. There were 9. Let's make sure I got this right. So there 1 here. So there kaftor v'cherech. So there's 7 here, and there's an 8. Let's take a look. Let's see. So he says there are 3. Okay, let's go back and make sure I'm doing this right. Okay. Okay, he says tish'a prachim hayula. So 9 flowers she had. 6. I had this right before. Okay. Again, it's still having to make a sense. ושלוש למנורה שנאמר משוקדים כפתוריה ופרחיה, ומיעוט פרחים 2, ואחד אמור בפרשת הלכה. Okay, so he says there's another one mentioned in Parshat Halacha. Look, now when we're looking at this, right? Here we have 1, okay? And we have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and somehow he's saying that there's another one somewhere. And I thought I had this worked out when I did the preparation. You have to forgive me. And now I'm not catching it, where he gets 9, right? Because there's 7, unless he considers this something, and I don't want to say that. I'm going to have to go back. Okay. So 1 is mentioned in Parshat Halacha, ad yirecha ad pircha. It says, and unless he's referring to this here, I'm not certain. The imtidakdek b'mishnah, and he says, if you look at this Mishnah, Haktuva Lamala, that's referenced above, and I believe that's in Menachot. He simply says at the back, you'll find each one in its proper place. So let's go on. We're now on to the next sentence. So let's make sure I've got that started. Okay. So and here in the verse it says, so I'm going to have to go back and figure out how he got that extra one. Because when I prepared it, it made sense, and now I'm not so sure it's making sense. So again, this is so at least we've got the height worked out. That we got straightened out. But there's still a little piece here that I'm not real happy with. But we'll have to try. So anyway, kaftorehem uknotam. So it says both the knobs, their knobs, and their branches, right? Mimena yihu. They all have to be made out of this one block of gold. Here we go. Hula miksha achat sahav tahor. It is all beaten, one from one pure piece of gold, one solid piece of gold. So let's see. I think that is it for that. There's no Rashi on it. We're going to keep going. Va'asita et neroteha shiva. You shall make its lamps 7. Ve'elah et neroteha, and you shall cause their lamps to literally go up, right? So I imagine because the flame goes up. Ve'eir el ever al ever paneha, and they shall give light opposite, its face. And we're going to see an illustration where we're going to try and see what that, what that really means. Let me see now if I can find, see if I can, here we go. All right, let me keep going. He's just showing you a detail of Meshukadim, right? Let's keep going. Here we are. Did I do the one thing? There we are. This is the picture, the illustration. Are you seeing all of this, by the way? I'm hoping you are. Do you see how these lips face the central one and how that lip faces forward? That's what Rashi is going to describe. So make sure I have it. Let's go on. Et neroteha, its lamps. Kemin bezichin. They are a sort of dish. They look like dishes. Shebetochan hashemen v'haptilot, in which one places the oil and the wicks. V'he'ir al ever paneha, they shall give light opposite, towards its face. Asa pi sheshet hanerot sheberosho. He made the mouth, and the mouth is this little piece here. That's the mouth, right? He made pishe of 6 of the lamps sheberashe hakanim that were at the top of the branches, hayotzim mitzideha, which would go out from its sides. I believe it's misivim klape ha'emsani, turning towards the middle lamp. You see exactly what he's talking about, right? Here we go. They're here. Okay, you'll have to imagine the third one here, but you see that they all face the middle lamp. Okay. In order that the lamps, that when you kindle them, me'irim el ever paneha, they are going to give light towards or opposite its face. Musav oram el tzad pnei hakaneh ha'emsa'i. In other words, they're turning towards, that their light is turning towards the side of the middle branch, shehu guf ha-menorah, because that's part of the body of the menorah. So that's this here. That's what's being described in this verse, and you see how these are like little bowls in which to place the oil and the lamp, and the wick, the wick. Going on, next verse. Umelkacheha, and it's, I think we'll see, I believe this is its tongs, umachtoteha, and it's like its little shovels, zahav tapor. They also needed to be made out of pure gold. So melkacher, the Aramaic notices that sivtaha, right? A tzavat. A tzavat is a tweezer, right? So Rashi's going to comment on that. He's he sees it, right? Umelkacheha, I just want to make sure. Umalkacheha, excuse me. Umalkacheha, heim hatzvatim. These are the tweezers, asuyin likach bahem atila, in which they would take, through which they would take the wick, mitoch hashemen, from being in the oil, from the oil, liyashvan, to set them, ulamoshchan, and to draw them, befi hanerot, into the mouth of each lamp. The al shem shelochim bahem, and because lakach is to take, because you take hold of the wicks through these tweezers, kruyim malkachim. Okay, that's why they're called malkachim, items with which you take. Utzvitaha shetirgem onkelos, and this word tzvitaha, which was the word that Onkelos used to translate this word, lashon tzavat, that has the meaning of a tzavat, and here he is, the old French touye or something, which is tweezers, and I'm sorry I didn't spell this quite correctly. Let me see if I can do this. Tweezers. You can see the word tweezers from this. Yes, David.
So, just to make sure, is this taking the wick out to set it up to light it, or is this after you're finished?
No. Okay. So you pop the wick into this bowl. Let's take a look at it, right? You pop the wick into the bowl, and then you use tweezers to set it up, and then you light it. Okay.
So
right. Yeah, because the wick has to draw the oil so that it remains lit. Okay.
Yeah. No, I was wondering though if they actually had the wick soaking in oil as well and use the tweezers to pull it out and then put it into the bowl.
No, I believe he's talking strictly about it in the bowl itself, and that's why we're using these gold tweezers to do that. And then, of course, after it's burnt off, there's usually some wick left. Okay.
Right.
There's usually some remaining oil. There's a sediment and stuff, and you need to get the wick out of there. And you don't use your fingers.
Right. So that's why I was trying to figure out which part of the process we were at. But
Absolutely.
It works.
Yes. I believe that's what they're talking about.
Okay. Thank you.
Excuse me 1 second. One moment. Hold on a second. Okay. Hold on 1 second. Yeah. What is it? Oh, it's in the, try that bottom drawer there. I can't now. I'm in the middle of a lesson. Bobby knows how. Okay. All right. Yes. Okay. Okay. Let's go. I have my home as well, right? The very personal stuff going on. Okay. Machtateha. Let's make sure again that I've got this correctly pronounced. Let's make sure. Machtoteha. What's a machteh? All right, so it's obviously something, the ma in front of it is sort of, I would call it the ma of agency. This prefix ma means something with which you do something, right? Excuse me. Heim kamin bezichin ktanim. They are like, again, little, I'd say, we said dishes, right? They're like dishes, like little dishes, ktanim, little. Shechote, there's the machtotea, with which one removes the ash in this case. Chote is to remove, when you chote, it's a verb in Hebrew that means specifically to remove the coals from a fire or the ash from a fire. Shechote bahem et ha'efer, with which he removes the ash, shebaner, which is in the lamp, baboker, every morning, keshehu meitiv et hanerot, when meitiv, he cleans, I would say, right? He cleans out the lamps, me'efer haptilot, from the ash of the wicks, shedalku halayla, that were burning during the night, kavu, and have basically extinguished. That's what that word means, right? Velashon machte, and the language of machate, and here's this word in French, belaz. And so whatever that word means, right? And here's the Yiddish word, shef lefel, shef lefel. A lefel, of course, right, is like a little spoon, right? And I think chef lefel does mean exactly this little spoon with which you clean out a lamp. And he says, there's another, here it is elsewhere in Isaiah chapter 30, lachtot et mi, it looks like mikud, sorry, lachtot esh miyakud, something like, in other words, to clean out the fire, right, that has burned, something like that, right, is what that means. And we're going to leave it here. And if I can figure out that little piece that I was struggling with about the body of the menorah and how we got that number, I'll see what I can do for tomorrow. So there we are. I'm going to stop the share. Any questions before I stop the recording? Okay. All right.